Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the show. I happen to be in transit right now, and I love it. I love getting to travel and see the world city by city, slowly country by country, and getting to catch up with friends of mine, like this gentleman, Mr. Barry Stephenson, who I know from New Orleans and is originally from Florida. He's been doing amazing things for himself ever since he moved up here to New York. Here, I say as if I'm still in New York, but I'm not. We recorded this podcast a week ago, actually at a coffee shop right next to Lincoln Center. And so the background chatter and the music happens to be a little loud. So you'll just have to bear with us for that and be patient. But it was awesome getting to hang with Barry, getting to see the city a little bit through his eyes just for a night. We even ordered in some delicious pizza. Oh, it was the authentic experience of being in New York. And he's on the road right now with one of my favorite singers that I also know from New Orleans, Jamison Ross, originally from Florida as well, but doing amazing things in the world of singing, of drumming and singing, and Grammy nominated. Got so much acclaim and so much, stuff after he won the Amazing Thelonious Monk competition. But anyways, this podcast is about Barry and the badass things he's doing and going on the road with wonderful singers from New York as well. And he did a long stint with John Baptiste before he became musical director for the Stephen Colbert Show. And he's made a couple appearances on the show himself, which is always amazing to see your friends doing amazing things like being on national television. And so it was awesome getting to hang with him and getting to see the city as well as some of the music clubs and the scenes like that, And so we talk for, an hour and get to catch up on what he's been up to since he put out his album called Basic Truths. And I'll insert some links so you can check out the album. It's a badass album that features a lineup of killers. Was recorded down in New Orleans. And he talks about it, but he's got the next thing in the works. So I'm excited to see what he's up to and what he's got going on. And I'm dropping this podcast on a Monday when I happen to be on my way to New Orleans. So enjoy. And thank you for listening to the show. Mr. Barry Stephenson, what's up, bro?
What's happening, bro? How you feeling?
I'm good. Thank you for being on Our Talk Music, bro.
Yeah, man. Indeed. This rainy day in New York.
This beautiful rainy day in New York, bro. It's great to hang with you in New York, too, man. We got to check out some badass music. Got to see my favorite bass player, and I know one of your favorite bass players last night, which was like fucking a dream, bro. Like,
yeah, man. It's a
Christian
vibe.
is my cat, but to see that like up that close and
yeah,
be next to you and you being so close to him was just like, oh shit, bro.
Oh,
like
man.
A couple degrees away.
Shit. Small world, this music world.
Yeah, bro.
Very, very small, man.
It is. It's tight seeing the vibe here in New York and how different things are. Just from New Orleans or even from New Mexico for me, from my perspective.
Yeah, definitely, man. It's different beast, so to speak. Very different beast.
Yeah. Now you've been dealing with all kinds of stuff, not just living here 2 years, but you're also recently 2 months a father. Congratulations, man.
Thank you, brother.
Beautiful.
Thank you. Yeah.
Barry the third.
yes. Moved up here.
That's tight.
Hung and then got to the vibe.
Got to work.
Got to the vibe. Got to the vibe.
I'm so happy for you and Kelsey, bro.
Adding to
Beautiful,
the docket.
beautiful, baby. Yeah, man. You think? Have you guys talked about more than one kid, or you guys don't even know? It's just like not even.
Oh
a
man,
thing
I
on the mind?
definitely want like 2 kids. Kelsey's happy with the one. I'm like, nah, we're doing 2. We're
Yeah.
doing 2. So she's starting to budge, but
You thinking about having them close together, or like waiting a while?
No, wait a little while, man.
Couple years.
Gotta give them some time.
Do you have siblings? Were your siblings
Yeah,
close
man.
to
I
you?
have
Or
4 sisters and 2 brothers.
how far away? How many years apart?
Well, my oldest sister is 3 years older than me.
Mm-hmm.
Then I have a sister who's like a couple of months older than me that I found out about later in life.
Oh yeah, all right,
And
half
then,
sister or what?
Yeah, I mean, well, technically all my sisters are one would say half sisters, but we don't rock like that. It's just like that's my brothers and sisters,
That's beautiful, yes sir.
But yeah, then I got a couple of. I'm like the oldest boy, so
Yeah.
just got some younger brothers and 2 younger brothers and a couple of younger sisters.
Yeah, that's tight.
Yeah, man, vibes.
So, no brothers? All sisters?
No, I said a couple of younger brothers. Yeah,
Excuse me.
I have a younger brother who's little brother's like 25 or 26 now.
Got you.
And then I have another one who's 21.
Nice. So within like 14 years of all of y'all, right?
My youngest sibling is 21.
Sick. And you're 31.
31, yep.
31 years old, bro. So you lived in New Orleans for your master's degree? Did you go UNO for master's, or would you do that?
Yeah, I lived in New Orleans from 2010 to 2016, and I went there with the goal of, getting a master's was kind of like the excuse to live in New Orleans, like, on a scholarship and like, kind of break into the city a little easier with like a, like a plugged-in community, so to speak.
Yes.
But, and it's good network, good opportunity, good, great excuse to get a master's degree, right?
Oh my God, bro. And of all the schools, that's like the most chill
and they were
school,
very
right?
practical school. Like they,
yes.
They were there to help you be a musician, which is, at the end of the day, that's the goal with these programs. A lot of, I would talk to my friends, some friends I know, who go to Juilliard or Manhattan School of Music or New School.
Yeah.
And it's like, if they have a tour or something like that, they have to like get like some paperwork filled out and get it approved. And it's just like, hey, the professors were like, oh yeah, you got a 2-month gig? All right, man, see you in 2 months. Here's the assignments. Just have them done when you get back. Like, they're not, they're like, well, this is, I remember one time you studied with Steve Mazakowski.
Yeah.
I had a class with Steve, but I had a gig with Glenn David Andrews, trombonist, on the radio. The big radio down there is WWOZ, and we had like an on-air performance.
Yeah.
And so I just like didn't go to class, and I told my teacher afterwards because it was very last minute. And he's like, "Oh man, if you got to go do that, always just go do that and just let me know later. It's cool." I was just like, "What?" That's not a very common thing. So
that is not seen.
It was beautiful for that.
That's beautiful, bro. That's beautiful. So, what was your connection with? I mean, I know that your professor at Florida State University had a lot of people connected with New Orleans. Was he the connection, or was it Jameson and some other people that you knew who were also talking about New Orleans?
So, Leon Anderson, the drum professor and head of the jazz program at Florida State, he's from Shreveport, and he used to. I want to say he taught at UNO, but he definitely was like around there working with Ellis and everything. So that was like the New Orleans FSU connection.
Yeah.
But Jason Marsalis and Roland Guerin would come every year with the Marcus Roberts trio and do like a week residency.
Wow, got you.
And so I got close to them in that way. And then when it came time, like I visited New Orleans for Jazz Fest a couple of times, like the first one being the year after Katrina in 2006.
Wow.
And the city just had such an energy to it. I was like, man, I was drawn to it. So, after a couple more trips and everything, like I was like, man, I kind of could see myself coming here. It's either there or New York. That's the places to go.
Yeah.
And, some just, pulled at my spirit from New Orleans. And I reached out to Roland Guerin, who was on faculty. He's adjunct at UNO. And I talked with him. I said, I really want to study with you. Where are you at? And he's like, oh, I'm at UNO. And he's like, I was like, yeah, but I need to get a scholarship. He's like, well, just make sure your audition is killing. The rest will be taken care of.
Really? Like that?
So, yeah,
Wow.
But, yeah, and then after that, like, I recorded my first record down there in 2011 at UNO for the most part.
That was Basic Truth?
Yeah, at UNO. And I brought in Jameson and Chris Padishaw and Ricardo and Jesse Smith.
Guitar player, oh yeah.
He engineered it.
Oh, really? Nice.
And then, Joe Goldberg was there, Ricio, Emily Frigid. I brought everyone in. It was funny is after that record, shortly after all those cats started moving to New Orleans, like Jameson being one, he hit me up, he was like, man, what's like the vibe, at UNO? I was like, man, for what we're doing, bro, like traveling and like being on, I was like, it's perfect. And I was like, and they're gonna give you a full scholarship. I'm like, come on, bro.
Yes.
Like,
was he already working with Carmen Lundy then? Or
yeah, he had already been on the road like for years by that point in time. And I was like, man, I was like, you can still do all that, go to school and get your master's.
Yes.
He's like, all right.
Huge.
So yeah, he's still down there. Basically, all the people who moved there after that, except like my friend Ron Williams, are all still down there. Josh Starkman. Me and Josh moved at the same time.
Okay, I was about to ask you.
And it, we weren't planning on moving at the same time. It just kind of happened that Josh was he was planning on going to New Orleans. I was planning on it.
Nice.
And before that, the only people that I knew who had gone to FSU who were living there at the time was this keyboardist by the name of Ryan Way.
Okay, all right.
this bass player by the name of Graham Robinson, who's an engineer down there now. He still plays bass, but he does a lot of engineering. And Austin Johnson, this pianist.
Badass.
Yeah, man. He used to live, I think he's back in North Carolina, but I asked Austin, I was like, yo, because he was going to UNO at the time. I was like, so Austin, what's the school like? He's like, oh, man. He's like, you basically create your own curriculum.
That's awesome.
I was like, oh, shit.
That's powerful, man. I mean, for a lot of people, and first of all, just to back up for a second, all the cats when you were talking about for your album, those are all the cats that you came up with from Florida State, right? Did you meet Jesse at Florida State as well? All FSU
cats,
guys, yeah.
All FSU.
Yeah, there's a strong connection with all of the Florida guys in New Orleans. That's badass.
It's so much so that like it became like a thing. Like we were on we were infiltrating the scene, and like people were like, oh, y'all cats from Florida, y'all came and trying to work. It's like, yeah,
yes.
bro, we came for the,
we came for the work.
It ain't no game.
Get it? Yeah. I remember first finding out about you through, like I was telling you the other day about those YouTube videos of you guys playing down in Colombia. It was Starkman, it was you, it was Sam Wiseman, and it was Dijon, right?
Yeah, Dijon.
Right. And you guys were performing and doing a little residency you guys were doing in Colombia, and then from there to hit up Josh, and then to come to New Orleans and check out the scene. I think I met you within the first couple nights I was in New Orleans, because it was
sounds about right.
It was Greg Ajid's Tuesday night jam, and I hit up Starkman to be like, hey, you got anything going on? Me and John Maestas had helped me move to New Orleans, and I hit him up to see like, yo, what's happening on Tuesday night? And right after I'd sent him the message, I saw that a couple minutes or half an hour or something like that before he posted that he was going to be playing at Maison with Greg. And we showed up and we checked it out, and I can't remember if you were playing or if you just sat in, and we were always playing, but I do remember that it was Darian's birthday. And the hang happened after that. It was just like everyone went out.
Yeah, if that's the case, I don't know if I was on the gig or if I was just hanging out.
I think you probably just sat in and then hung afterwards, because then everybody came out afterwards. Yeah.
But
it was $2 Tuesday at Deja Vu back in the day. It was like everyone was just like go till 3 a.m. and then
that was the night.
That was the cats.
Definitely
it was like I met everybody that then would become just like people that I admire and still hang with, or try and play with or catch. It's like it was a vibe, man. So 2 years in New York. Basic Truth came out about, 4 years ago? How many years did it come out?
2015.
All right, 3 years ago.
Yeah, 2015.
And so I know we were talking about you're thinking and working and getting to maybe putting out the second album soon. You already recorded it, you said, right?
Yeah. Second album's already recorded.
Who'd you record with? Who was on the album?
Jamison's on that one again. Ricardo Pascal's on that again from the first record. And then this guy I met through Jazz and Lincoln Center up here named Patrick Bartley. Great alto player, clarinetist, just a freak of a musician.
Yeah.
Great sound, great ideas, good dude, whole vibe.
Yeah.
And then Nicholas Payton produced this one, so
what?
Yeah, man, it's got.
That's amazing.
Nick, man.
Wow.
That's all. Enough can be said. That's it. Nick.
And where did you record that, man?
We recorded that down in New Orleans at the Parlor Studio. In the Irish Channel.
Yes.
Yeah, my friend Matt Grondin has a great studio out there. He's gotten some of everyone to record there. And
oh my God, yeah.
The sound he gets is amazing. The
Neve console that they got there.
Everything, man. It's just a vibe, bro. It's completely like, damn.
Yes.
But yeah, I was really, really happy with the sound and the finished product, and I can't wait to put that one out, man. So y'all be
on the lookout.
On the lookout for the vibe.
I'm gonna put a bunch of links so people can hear, of course, the first album and stuff, and your website, and keep up with you to hear the next album and stuff. So, like, what is on the horizon for you within the other part of this year and into the 2019, man? What do you see yourself doing? I know you're working a lot. You're gonna be on the road, and you're already on the road a bit with Jameson. You guys just played in Philadelphia this weekend.
Yeah, man. Just some tours with Jameson and this other vocalist I work with, Jasmine Horn. We have some different, we're going to Europe. I'm going to Europe with both these bands, and just stuff around the city.
Yeah.
Finishing up this album, the mixing and mastering and all the artwork and stuff, and being a dad. That's you dig?
That's huge, bro. Yes, sir.
That's what the vibe is for the next couple of years. 18 to be exact, but never you never stop apparently. So yeah, man.
It's beautiful, man. So how much did having Barry the Third impact your life, and how much has it been impacting your life in the past 2 months, man? Tell me about that as a working musician, as a creative person, as an artist, you know?
It's just, I guess it makes you think of, future priorities a little different, but I don't know. I feel like it still hasn't hit me like fully, even though it has. Like, it's just still like very brand new, so I don't really have much to say on it. But just your focus is a lot different. Why you're trying to accomplish things, not necessarily what you're trying to accomplish, but like why you're doing it, and like your drive is a little bit more to like really, really push through and get shit done.
Yes.
Somebody else depends on you to do it, so.
Yeah.
But yeah,
now,
man.
Was any part of it scary? Like when you got pregnant, when like the idea of it?
I mean, the world is scary.
Like the
world is scary. I think that's the scariest part about it. Honestly, it's like I'm not like nervous about kids or anything like that. Like I grew up around kids for the most part.
Yeah.
But it's just like, we live in a very interesting world right now, with everything that's going on with police brutality and them like gunning down, young African American men and women. It's just like, that's the shit that scares me. It's like trying to explain to my son like what's going on. You know what I'm saying? And I thought that maybe like, after my parents, explain all this to me, that maybe growing up, it wouldn't be such a common thing, but it's even more prevalent now than ever.
It was, yeah.
Right. So now it's all, you can see it all unfold on social media in real time,
Yes.
Different beasts.
Yeah, man, it's a sad reality, but it is indeed the reality that you see and think about a lot more, man. So from having a kid, man, and like, moving to New York, how, like, I don't know, it's obviously it's always a dream, like you're talking about when you were, at FSU, when you were like, all right, New Orleans or New York. Now you did the New Orleans thing, and now you're doing the New York thing. I mean, how different is the pace of life? Obviously, it's a lot faster. Obviously, the public transportation. Obviously, you know what I'm saying, the loudness of the cities and stuff like that. But like,
yeah, the energy is just different in both areas. New Orleans is a very laid back. It's built into the motto of the city. The city that care for God. Like
what is that? The city that
care for God is like one of the big mottos.
Wow.
And it's it's just, that's the thing, and that's okay. It's if that's what you're into, which for me it was a great city to develop in and get my thing together, add something to what I was trying to already do.
Right.
And up here it's like it's a different pace. It's a different kind of scene. You have to attack it differently.
Yes.
But nonetheless, the same. I think the methods to me are the same.
Yes. Put in the work and
like meet people, be visible, definitely put in the work, be professional, like have something that sets you apart. Like those things matter in New Orleans, they matter even more up here. Like because there's like 1,000 cats who all play the same thing. It's like, how do you separate yourself from the pack?
How do you separate yourself from the pack beyond the professionalism and playing differently and stuff like that? Like, what was something that you thought about?
I think it's just really being a team player and like trying to like really be there for the music, and doing the things that people don't do, the little things like being on time, being dressed appropriately, learning the music before you go. I'm not saying like I'm spot on with all these, but I do my best to like make sure all that's taken care of. Then being like a good person to be around, and someone would want to take on the road and have to hang. I mean, because most of the gig is actually the travel and the time you're in like airports and all that shit and driving between cities. The shit we do on stage is the fun part. That's easy.
Yeah.
It's the shit off stage that you have to like. That's what you get paid for. So that's what just being a personable person, and I don't know. It's having. I always think about this. Like, how do you tell someone like how to get at this lifestyle? And it's like, I don't know. It's just like a thing that drives you and motivates you to do it. And like, some people have that drive, some don't.
That's very true, man. That's very true.
I don't know.
Yo, so what? Like, how different does the role of practicing come into your life now that you're living in New York and got the apartment, and obviously you were living in an apartment in New Orleans, and you had people like neighbors up above and to the sides and stuff like that, but like what's What's that vibe like here? You know, do you find time to practice as easily and still do it at your house?
I haven't really noticed any difference. I mean, most people expect noise in New York, so I don't know. It hasn't really
affected you like that.
Yeah.
Or even like thinking about like the time of when you can practice.
No,
and when you can,
I mean maybe not
that.
electric bass. Like I won't plug my amp in or some shit.
Right.
No, for the most part, it's chill. You know.
Yeah. It's an experience when like living with people too. I mean, obviously you're living with your wife, and now you've got you know grandma coming in, living and helping taking care of the baby and stuff like that. But the experience of moving around, as well as like dealing with other roommates and dealing with people's schedules and
man,
trying to respect all that shit, you know.
Excuse me. Yeah, it's a different aesthetic, you know. But I can't have any more roommates other than like family at this point. You know?
Yeah. That's not the vibe. Mm-hmm.
Still not even trying to have too much family as roommates. You know.
Yes.
It's all Yes.
Yeah.
That's what it is. So you know.
Yo, we were talking about this the other day, man, and the question you said that from the book Notes and Tones that Art Taylor was talking about. Art Taylor was talking about was what the word jazz means for you. And if I was to pose that question to you, what would you say? What does jazz mean to you?
You know, it's got a lot of meaning, and it also means nothing at the same time. It's like one of those weird dichotomies. It's like it's a made-up word, but it's like also something. It's when you say it, people have like a vague idea of what you're referencing, you know.
Yeah.
But it doesn't encompass like the totality of the situation. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So I agree with Nicholas Payton in this respect of calling it Black American music or BAM.
Yeah.
It kind of liberates it from having to be this thing, because people are turned off by the word jazz. It's very interesting. Like I'll never forget when I went to when I was about to start undergrad at Florida State. Mm-hmm. My aunts were asking me what I was going to school for. I was like, for jazz. They're like, like old jazz. They're like old. They call it that old jazz, because they're into smooth jazz. That's like to them. Wow, that's what jazz is.
Yeah.
And like being in the jazz realm, like smooth jazz is like people don't consider that jazz if you're a bona fide quote unquote jazz musician. So
right.
It's just interesting. I don't know. I think the word is, I don't know. If it makes it easier for some people, fine. If not, that's music to me. You know.
Yes. Yeah. What is a composition? Like, what role does that play in your life? I mean, I know some of the songs from Basic Truths were your compositions. Were they all?
Actually, I wrote all the music on that record, all the lyrics, all the melodies, the lyrics, everything, man. All that was my music, and I mean, I try and compose as much as possible. It's kind of, I don't put it like a regimented thing. I just, I like to have the inspiration come and the muse like tap
work
into
through you
it.
To some way, right.
You know what I mean? Like just tap into it. Like that's my energy with it. I'm not a let me write a composition today kind of person and finish it. Like I don't know. I just don't have that kind of drive. So I don't force the issue, so to speak. You know?
Yes, I can dig. So then, what is the process? I mean, since you're writing all the music, the lyrics.
Oh man, the process varies, man. The process varies.
It's new every time, right?
Well, no, sometimes I guess the most prominent thing is some people are like, well, do you start out with a bass line? Sometimes that's the basis of the song. Sometimes it's a melodic line. Sometimes I might get lyrics and have to figure out a melodic line. Sometimes I get lyrics, and a lot of the time I get the melody, and then I have to figure out a way to contour like lyrics to it.
Yeah.
That's normally how I operate. But I mean, it all comes differently,
Yeah.
Sometimes it might be like some changes that inspire something, like, I don't know. Everything's different. It might be just like a loop or like, something that's stumbled across like in rehearsal that I record on my iPhone and then take back later and like
check
create,
out. Yeah.
It's like I said, the process varies. Like, and it's not a very what's the word for it?
It's not routine ever.
It's not like I have a method. It's not methodical in that sense.
Sure. Yeah.
Not like I don't set out to like with a game plan of like I'm gonna write this composition and I want this many sections and
right.
Right.
What do you most write on? Do you most write from the bass, from your voice, from the piano, from the guitar, the banjo? What?
A lot of stuff it will be on an electric bass, I guess. Some stuff on upright.
Yeah.
So I can't play piano well, but sometimes like fucking around or like on an acoustic piano or like bring some like, ideas forth.
Yeah.
Guitar a lot actually. Like sometimes when I'm fucking around on guitar, like I get like some good like stuff out of it, just like naturally, Yes. I like writing on guitar actually.
That's awesome.
It's nice,
I was talking with Matt Brewer about that. He was saying he writes a little bit on the guitar, but a lot on the piano too. And it was like, okay.
Yeah, people who can play piano write on piano. I can't play piano.
I can't
whatsoever.
play piano at all.
So,
either. I've never written a song from piano.
Yeah.
I'd like to, man. One day,
I wish.
Yeah. Now what? From composing and like from playing and stuff like that. What about like your youth? Like I know you were into punk. Like I remember you played. Was it RX Bandits that you were playing for me when we were in New Orleans? And you were like
probably.
Playing me some like badass old school like video of like, or maybe it was a new video of like some show that they did, but like you were like all about them in high school. Was that the time that you were all about them?
Still am, man. I love the RX Bandits, bro. Like,
you told me you've seen them in a couple different cities, right?
Man, like over 10, 12 times. Me and my friends used to road trip to go see them.
Damn.
Like it was that deep. But yeah, man. RX Bandits.
What was some other artist or like that vibe of stuff that was like, outside the jazz room or outside?
Well,
of what
I
people
got
would
into
think of
like
when they hear you
I got
music?
into playing the bass like on electric bass in 8th grade. Like wanted to be in like rock bands and like metal bands. So like I was like really into Slipknot and like
really
Korn and Marilyn Manson and shit like that, and like Green Day and Blink-182. Those are like my favorite bands. And then I got into NoFX and discovered like the Mars Volta and the RX Bandits and stuff like that. But that's like a lot of what I'm actually coming out of. And then I went back and started checking out more jazz, like in
high school,
end of high school, really college was where I really started checking out jazz.
Yeah.
And my dad was a DJ, so he was like really into music and like so Earth, Wind and Fire and stuff was always in the house. Parliament, Funkadelic, those are his two favorite bands,
Tight.
Marvin Gaye, like all just like the classics, all the good stuff. He was open-minded too, so like he had like Pink Floyd and its records, he was always checking out what was happening. So like he always had like the most cutting-edge hip-hop. Like he was, he had Notorious B.I.G., Tupac, like Outkast, all the shit on CDs when I was growing up. And he would let me like make little cassettes out of like, he'd let me like copy them on cassettes,
That's tight.
Yeah, man.
So was he a disc jockey around town or just like a DJ for parties and events and stuff?
No, he used to work for, when I was like born until like maybe like 2 or 3. He used to work for like Hot 105 and Power 96, 99 Jams, like the big radio stations in South Florida.
Yeah, okay. That's tight, man.
Yeah, man.
Was your mom musical at all?
No, but she loves music. She never played an instrument, but she really loves music. She's always listening to music, so.
That's tight. So you got a lot of support, it sounds like, from both mom and dad when you got
my dad bought me my first bass guitar, so I mean, he was always down with it, Yeah. My mom never discouraged me, she's a mom. She does what moms do.
Yeah, she wants you to be happy,
Yeah, but they also like want you to be realistic too.
And make money, right. Make sure that you can make money at least.
So,
right?
but it was that kind of energy,
Yeah. What do you say, like, at what point do you think you knew that you wanted to, like, play music for a living? Was it right in 8th grade, or when was that?
Well, I knew in the 8th grade I wanted to do it. It was 12th grade that I decided I was going to go to school for music, so.
That was, like, the point of no return.
Yeah, it was like, is it this or marine biology? Which one?
Marine biology?
Yeah, man, I went to marine biology school for, from 6th grade to 12th grade. Middle and high school.
Tight. All right. That's totally a Florida thing, right?
I'm sure.
I'm sure the other coastal towns or beach, like
but definitely South Florida is like huge
hotspot,
marine community.
Yeah. That's awesome, man.
Yeah, man.
So from RX Bandits to jazz, you went to FSU, and then you went to New Orleans. You finished your master's. You wrapped up your time there, and you said peace with your fiance at that time, Kelsey.
We got married before we left.
Oh, excuse me, yeah.
Yep.
So you guys got married, and then y'all were both like, let's do it. Here you are.
Yeah, well, yeah, we had planned it out. Like, it was always kind of a plan to come up here eventually, so.
Yeah.
Just had to get all our ducks in a row, so to speak, and then make the move.
Yeah. what would you like to see yourself, like, where would you like to see yourself, not necessarily like location-wise, but like artistically and creatively in 10 years? Like,
oh, man.
taking maybe a band of your own on the road with
I
your own
mean,
music,
yeah, hopefully I'll have done that quite a bit by that point.
Sure,
and, you know, working with different artists. I know it always sounds cliche, but I really enjoy, like, working and collaborating with different artists. You know, getting definitely heavier into production and
yeah, really.
Yeah, man. You know, just working, just trying to like create a moment with someone. You know, and continue writing various ensembles. You know.
Yes.
Eventually, I'd love to like write like a piece for orchestra, like
really
that kind of vibe. Yeah, definitely. String quartet or something. That's like deep goals. I gotta write a big band chart before I get to that deep into it. But yeah, you know, things of that nature.
What about like the electric bass and like that, the rock, like that side of you? You ever see yourself like doing some projects with that?
Well, you know, I have like a funk, like a funk rock band I have that plays my original tunes and stuff like that. So I mean,
Barry's Pocket.
Yeah, you remember that?
Love that band, bro.
Man, so yeah, I mean, that's still in the works in terms of like trying to get some things happening, but it's gotta really pick your time and divide your time wisely up here, you know. So
yes,
like trying to make a platform for that, so to speak, you know.
Yeah.
And do it right.
Actually, I got a little funny story about Barry's Pocket, about your band. When I was in New Orleans for something, and you were like, "Yeah, bro, we're playing at the Maison. Like, come through." I think we played like one of those high gigs, and you're like, "Yeah, come by after that or whatever." And I went and parked my car somewhere and like fucking carried my amp like a couple blocks. And was just like sweating like an absolute dog by the time I got up on stage and y'all were playing. You were just like, just set it up and get to playing. Like, come on, bro, right now. And I was like, oh shit. And just started playing and was like already sweating, but then started playing, so I started sweating even more. And just like, there was a point where you were like, go, man, go. And I went out and took a solo and was just like going in. And my face was drenched with sweat to the point to where I had to keep my eyes closed because I knew sweat was going to get in my eyes. And eventually I opened my eyes during the solo and I got what's that? You know what happens whenever your eye gets all puffed up?
Oh yeah.
Sty. A sty. Yes. Yeah. I got a sty from playing with Barry's band. I was sweating like a dog.
Don't blame me for that.
And let the sweat get in there.
Don't blame me.
I'm not blaming it. It was when I was with the band. It was sitting in with the band though. It was like,
happens,
oh my god, bro.
It happens like that. It's New Orleans, you know.
All right,
it was fun, man. It was a lot of fun, man.
Your band is a lot of fun, bro. That band is just like a fucking riot, bro. You guys.
It's a workhorse, that band. I miss those guys.
Yeah, I mean, even just you two with like the energy you would just do. It's like you let go. It's like you let your hair down. You were playing electric. You were dancing like a motherfucker on stage.
As a leader, though, you have to kind of model the energy you want from the rest of your bandmates.
Set the bar.
And that kind of energy, like, I feel like it's not like a jazz set where we can just. I mean, it's visually got to be appealing, so like you got to carry the energy like with your body, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So
that certainly comes from like your background with all the loves for the music that you
playing in punk rock bands and stuff like that, like, you know, just giving
it's just
like
as
a
much
visual.
of a presence.
What
you're doing,
definitely, man. It takes the whole energy for the band and like makes it what it is. So you know, there's definitely that, and then you know, just trying to keep it interesting for myself. You know, my favorite bands have like a huge stage presence, like Bootsy Collins or Larry Graham. Like their stage presence is like very, very like infectious if you check them out, and they're commanding the bass. I mean, the band from the bass. So it's not an easy thing to do, you know.
Yes. Yeah.
But yeah, man, that was kind of my inspiration for trying to get that stuff happening, you know.
That's awesome. Yeah. I love it, man. So we were talking a little bit about this last night, and you kind of gave me the generic answer. But to dig into bass players and like your most important influences, upright and electric, I should say.
Oh man, well,
we can start with either one.
Like like I was saying, I mentioned some bands when I was coming up playing electric bass. Like I was really into the dude Sam Rivers from Limp Bizkit. They had some really great bass lines. I was into Twiggy from Marilyn Manson. I think The Beautiful People was like the first song I learned how to play.
Wow.
Shavo from System of a Down. Like I learned how to play Sugar, those things.
Okay.
Learned how to play Carousel by Mark Hoppus. Like Mark Hoppus is a huge influence on the way I play. Yeah, Mike Dirnt from Green Day.
Yeah.
Mark Hoppus from Blink-182. Fat Mike from from NoFX. Matt Freeman from Rancid. And then like I got into jazz, and like, you know, it became like your Ron Carters and your Ray Brown. I happen to study Ron Carter now. I'm really, really fortunate for that. But like Paul Chambers and, you know, Mingus and Jamie Garrison and stuff like that, up to like now Christian McBride, Reginald Veal, Reuben Rogers, stuff like that. Derek Hodge is one of my all-time favorite bass players, electric and upright. I love Derek Hodge, his whole career, just those kind of things,
Yes.
And then the other electric, Bootsy Collins is a huge influence on me. Those kind of cats. Of course, James Jamerson, you can't play the electric bass and get around that, and Jocko and stuff,
Yeah.
That's why I think I said to you, I was like, generic, but it's like
right. There's so much.
It's like all of our
stop.
influences. It's hard, but like, the secret weapons, like probably Derek Hodge. That's like the secret weapon.
Yeah. That's awesome.
Yeah, man.
What about non-bass players? Like, which musicians impacted your?
I really,
career?
really fuck with Miles Davis, Coltrane. Once again, sounds like generic names.
It's all good though. It's like it's what we experienced.
Duke Ellington, of course. Louis Armstrong. Yeah, those vibes, man.
If you could play upright bass with another bassist, living or dead, and do a duo show, if you had to pick 3 bass players to do a duo upright bass show, not together, but like separately, each one.
No, I hear you. What's funny is I got a chance to do some duo stuff at Christian McBride's house one day. I went over there to hang with him, so that's off the list.
That must have been amazing.
I don't know. Yeah, dual bass shit is always interesting. I got a chance to hang with Ben Williams. We were over his house. We did some duo stuff. That was nice. Yeah. I guess around those people,
Yeah. What about electric basses?
Definitely Derek Hodge.
Yeah.
It'd be nice to sit around and play some with Marcus Miller, too. That would be a vibe.
Yeah.
Yeah, that would be great, man. I love Marcus Miller. He's a bad dude. Bad dude, man. Sound, bro.
We hear stories about people, Miles saying that he walks in time.
Yeah, man. Yeah, bro. That's a bad dude.
Music
man.
coming out of every orifice. Yeah.
I can imagine. Only can imagine with that cat, bro.
That's awesome. Yeah. Now, what about some singers, man? Who are some singers that you would have loved to have played with, dead or alive?
I like Pops, Louis Armstrong. That is. I really dig Frank Sinatra. Funny enough, I like Frank Sinatra's phrasing and shit. Billie Holiday, of course, Ella, Sarah Vaughan,
What about alive?
I really enjoy this vocalist I play with now, Jasmine Horn, Cecile McLaurin-Savant. She's a great vocalist. Those are some of the people I enjoy out now,
Yeah. How much of a role does singing play a role in your relationship with the bass, man? Do you sing when you play solos, or do you?
I do because it helps me focus. But it's you're trying to always try and sing what you're hearing and get that to be as vocal as possible on your instrument. So it's it's very, very influential.
Yeah.
Oh, another bass influence, Ashton Family Man Barrett from
Uncle. Who's that?
From
Barry. He's the last name.
From the Wailers. No, Ashton Family Man.
Oh.
Barrett. Yeah, man.
Barrett.
He would always say that he always thought of his bass lines as the lowest part of SATB harmony, like soprano, alto, tenor, bass.
Oh.
He always thought of his bass lines being the lowest voice, and that's why those bass lines always sound so melodic and they're speaking to you and interacting with the I really think of bass lines as if they had words to them. What would be their part?
Oh, really? How so?
Yeah, man.
Where'd you get that idea from? I should say. From
Family
him?
Man. Yeah, if you think about it, them Belly Full Belly Hunger, the bass line is, it matches the vocal. It's bo de bo de bo 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 de bo de bo bo be bo do. It's the same thing, and then he goes, so we gonna chuck to jam music, and then boom 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 do boom boom dee do. It's it just it comes in with the vibe, man. So it's that kind of stuff. Just almost hearing it as if it's answering, it's a part of the conversation. It's not just root harmony. You know what I mean?
Yes. Yeah. Oh, absolutely.
Yeah, man.
Now talk about SATB. Did you ever sing in choirs growing up?
No, I never did. I have a terrible voice. I cannot sing whatsoever. But yeah, I'm not too well versed in it. But music theory classes,
Sure. Yeah.
So that kind of stuff.
Nice, man. Now, jump into when you were first playing. Like, what was your first interaction with music where you were like, I want to play the bass? Was it listening to Slipknot and all those guys?
Yeah, me and my friend wanted to start a band, and he played guitar, and I couldn't sing, and the other cat was gonna play drums. So we were like, we need a bass player.
That's how it happened.
So, yeah, that's exactly how it happened. And I asked my dad for a bass, and he's like, we'll see what we can do. And he got it for me for Christmas. No, for my birthday.
Nice. Was it a 4-string, 5-string?
It was a 4-string Washburn bass. I still have it.
Wow. Washburn was my first electric guitar.
Oh, really?
Yeah,
Yeah, man.
That's tight.
Yeah, I understand. It's P bass, man. 4-string P bass.
Nice.
Thing's still rocking.
I remember when I had that Washburn, I had ordered it out of a Sam Mash magazine, and it showed up, and I was so excited. And I'd heard at that point I loved Stevie Ray Vaughan a lot, so I'd heard that he used super heavy gauge strings on his guitar, and I put heavy gauge strings on my guitar, such to the point to where my neck started boating.
Yeah.
And when I'd bend notes, I just thought that the strings were supposed to go up on your nails, and I went and took it to a shop, or the Guitar Center, when I went and bought, my first Mexican Strat, and they were like, Jesus Christ, you play on this thing, bro?
Like, this shit is fucked. Like, how are you not, like, hurting from playing this mode? That's crazy, bro. Like, yeah, I don't really play the bass anymore, but it's still in good condition. Like, it's workable, you know what I mean?
I'm happy for you that you still have that instrument, though, because
man,
that connection with your very first instrument is something you'll never have again.
Rid of that. I was like, how could I?
I destroyed that thing. It wasn't that I destroyed it totally, but I was like, I had the stupid idea from watching a Steve Vai video that he was playing his 3-necked guitar, and one of the guitars on his 3-neck guitar is fretless.
Okay.
And I was like, bro, I want a fretless guitar. I wonder what it would sound like. And so once I got that Mexican Strat, I basically took it apart, man. I took the neck. Once they told me it was all fucked up, I basically just took it apart and tried
how to work that shit.
I tried taking the frets off, and from taking all the frets off and sanding it down and putting a little bit of putty in there and trying to play it was just like, yeah, I fucked it up even more.
Of course, bro. Of course, like.
I just pieced it apart.
Like, what did you think was gonna happen?
Yeah, man. Yeah. You took a $150 guitar and you did that to it. It's gonna be.
That's all you can.
$1.50 guitar. It's like nothing.
That's exactly what happened. Was what you expected.
That's awesome. Now, what kind of setup are you playing nowadays, bro? Like, what's your main electric bass?
I have a Fender P bass. It's from the 74, 75.
Actually from 74, 75?
Yeah, beautiful. And that's like...
Did it cost you a pretty penny?
Huh?
Did it cost you a pretty penny being from the 70s, or is that not a hot era?
A pretty decent price, I like to think. Like,
nice.
I played some basses that were like 3 times the price of that one, and they did not sound nearly as good.
Yeah.
So like, I remember when I found that bass, I was like, I have to get this bass. Like, it's so sweet, bro.
Yeah.
It sounds amazing. Yeah. But
that's 4-string.
Yeah, 4-string. Yeah,
I have they make 5-string P basses, right?
Yeah.
They do?
Yeah, of course.
I didn't.
I have a couple of basses, but that's like my main axe. That's like the one.
The one that's yours. That's your baby.
It sounds so good, bro.
That's awesome.
That instrument is heaven. It's like butter. And then I got like
I love that.
I just bought this German bass from the 40s, 50s from upright.
Nice.
So
nice, man.
Yeah, man. That's
you only got one upright bass, that German bass?
I have 2 now because I just bought this one.
Nice.
I decided to keep my other one just for like, backup purposes. And that one's from like 2007. It's from music.
All right.
Nothing too fancy, but it sounds great.
That's awesome. And amp and stuff, what'd you play through, man? What's your?
Well, I endorse Aguilar amps, so like I play through those a lot.
Beautiful, man.
Yeah, man.
You've been with them for a minute. Did you get with them with John, or when did you start working?
Right when I was on the road a lot with John Batiste, Stay Human is when I got that connection.
That's awesome.
And it's been working out for me.
Now, what was that like, bro? Because you were touring and on the road as John Batiste's bassist / when y'all would march the banjoist.
Yeah, man.
Right fun, before man. He got that gig on
Yeah, man. It was fun. It was cool to catch the wave of that all happening, because like that was like right at like the pinnacle, like when I got in the band, they were like doing really, really well and like getting a lot of good, gigs and different spotlights. So it was nice for me. But yeah, man, that was a lot of fun. Great music, great cats.
How did that happen? How'd you link up with John? I mean, I know he's got the connection with New Orleans, but you didn't meet him in New Orleans.
No, I
right?
met him at Dizzy's, funny enough. Me and some friends were playing there for the late set, and he came by and jammed with us. And
sat in.
yeah, he's like, yeah, man, I'm have my manager reach out to you. I'm like, okay. People say
He
that
told
shit
you right then.
He's like,
night.
people say that all the time. So you're like, okay.
Really? I never had nobody tell me that.
It's like, yeah, man, we're going to go to Europe. It's like, okay.
He was blowing smoke up your skirt.
Well, you never know.
Yeah.
But no, his manager
yeah.
hit me up. Was like, yo, we got these dates in Europe. Can you make them? I'm like, yep.
Wow. And it started. Did both you and Jameson start playing with him at the same time? Or was Jameson
No,
already?
I did a tour with him in Europe that summer, and then Jameson did the fall tour and the rest of like the next year and a half.
So did you recommend Jameson, or how
No,
did
he
you
knew
with
Jameson through his own channels,
Sick, man.
But we were both there that night when we sat in with him. So.
Oh, y'all were both playing.
Yeah.
Nice. Oh, so you heard the duo, bro. That's the.
You heard the duo.
The two of you guys is a fucking strong.
Oh, man.
My dream trio of really I should say my Florida favorite trio was like you, Josh, and Jameson, bro. I only heard 2 gigs with the 3 of you guys, But
that's funny.
That's a badass trio,
band.
bro.
That'd be a very interesting band.
Yeah, man.
Yeah, you can hear some interesting music in the background here, boy.
I know.
It's
the first podcast where you're hearing all these background music and getting some theme music, but you get
my apology, y'all. It's New York.
You can't help it, bro. You rather hear this or you hear some other stuff. So it's all good.
That's true.
Yeah. All right, we're gonna take a little break to go to the bathroom, bro. Okay, and we're back.
Starbucks interview
continues. So, I just want to finish up the little thing we were talking about John Baptiste and what it was like playing with him, and now playing with him now that he's on Stephen Colbert and playing the late night show at the Sullivan Theater. What is? Tell
Sullivan
me
Hall, Ed Sullivan Theater. Yeah.
Tell me what that's like, bro.
A lot of sit around and wait.
Really?
Yeah, you're waiting for cues and.
It's not live, right? It's
they tape it, but they tape it live.
Gotcha.
So you got to make your cues and entrances, and it's cool, man. It's a very interesting experience seeing how they put those things together.
Yeah. Is that your first opportunity to play late night TV?
Yep.
I should say on national TV, right?
Yeah, that'd be it.
It's amazing, bro. It's amazing. Now, did you when you were playing with John, was there an album that was recorded around the time that you guys were playing on them?
What's funny with John? John has so much music in the vault. I've recorded on stuff. I don't know if it will see the light of day, but John's like that, man. He has a ton of music, just music for years and years. So we'll see.
That's pretty tight. I think he's about to, or he might have already put out the solo album.
Yeah,
the tour
it's coming out. I think in a couple weeks.
Yeah,
Hollywood Africans.
Yo, it's gonna be amazing, bro.
Yeah, man.
Now, what was it like when you started really going on the road? When was it that you really started going on the road? Was that UNO years?
When I started working on what?
When did you start really going on the road as a musician? Was that still at Florida State University, or was that when you started going to UNO?
First time I went on tour was when I was still at Florida State. I went to Ireland, but when it really picked up was when I was in New Orleans.
Yeah. I'm sure you don't forget that first experience of going on the road to play music, right?
Man. It was like a new thing,
What was that feeling? Yeah, when you were on the plane, what was that like, bro? I've never traveled to another country. I mean, I've traveled down to Colombia, which is my ancestry country, but never to another country to do music like that.
It's surreal. Now it's kind of like, not to sound,
work, right?
Not to sound like I don't have any humility about the situation, but it's very, very commonplace now for me, to be
hitting the airport, going to London.
Yeah,
whatever.
Flights. 14-hour flight, get to go to sound check, hit, and then come back.
Damn, like that.
Yeah, I've done that before. I've had nights, long stays for one gig in a place. It's just this full spectrum of it. But I'm definitely very appreciative of the entire circumstance that my career has afforded me. So it's it's really, really nice. I'm going to some countries I've never been to. this October with Jameson. We're going to Slovakia, and I've been to Germany, but I've never been to Berlin, so that'll be fun.
Wow,
and then, I think we're going to Bratislava, which I've never been to. Wow. Stuff like that, yeah, man. Vibes.
What are some other countries that you've never played in but look forward to playing? Yeah.
I want to play in Africa, like the continent of Africa, but there's the Johannesburg Joy of Jazz Festival.
Yeah.
I've never been to Japan. I would like to go to Japan. That would be a vibe.
Yeah.
That's mainly it.
Nice.
Yeah. Australia. I've never been to Australia. That would be fun.
New Zealand. Check all that stuff out. Yeah, man. There's such a depth of like badass music there and support for the arts there, man. I love Australian artists. There's a couple badass fucking bands. I know a lot of people are kind of over the hiatus coyote stuff, but I love that show when I first found out about it, and just like that opened up the door to find out about a lot more badasses. Although before that, Tommy Emmanuel was probably the first Australian that I fucking fell in love with. You know that acoustic guitar player?
I'm not hip, no.
He's like in the guitar world, he's a solo acoustic, not steel string guitar player, but he's like a gymnast on the acoustic guitar, because he just like does. So he's all about arrangements and just like does badass fucking beautiful like classical-esque arrangements, but all on the guitar.
Man. That's vibe.
And he's like Australia all day.
Yeah, man. It's great musicians everywhere. That's the beauty of it, you know.
Yeah.
No one country has a monopoly.
Yeah.
Because you'll go out of your comfort zone and somebody will shame you. You'll get humbled real quickly.
What would you say is the most humbling experience musically you've had in your life that you can think back to, or one that pops into your head?
All of them, man. Just to be able to do what I love and make a living after it and provide for my family, it's a blessing, you know. It's not, it's always humbling, because it's like, there's people who do things that they hate on a regular basis to make ends meet, and I don't have to do that. So, the worst that'll happen to me is I have to play some gig where I don't like the music, or I don't like, and I try not to take those gigs. So, you know what I mean?
Yes. Yeah.
The worst is like I can complain about is that the hotel accommodations weren't all that great.
Right.
You know?
Right.
In Paris. You know what I mean? Like, that's not really something to complain about, you know?
Yeah.
So it's like those things where I'm just like, yeah, man, I'm doing this, you know?
All right, so what about like, what were the gigs that what gig did you have, or band that you played with, or event musically you had that like made you really go into the shed and like work? Like for me, I played with a Cuban salsa band, and that time playing with that band was like the total other side of everything musically I'd been doing. And every rehearsal, every performance I played with them, I ran out there like a dog. I ran afterwards, ran home like a dog with my legs between, with my tail between my legs, because it was like, I felt like I got my ass kicked every time.
Yeah, no, I hear you. Batista's band was definitely like, everyone in that band went to Juilliard, so like it was like their vibe, their energy was very, very high, like their ability, so you wanted to bring it,
Yeah.
And then most recently playing with Nicholas Payton. Like Nicholas, I respect and admire so much. He's a living legend of this music. He will go down as one of the greatest trumpet players of all time. Like,
absolutely.
Without
question.
this gonna happen. So for him to call me on some gigs, that was like very, very like humbling in itself, and I prepared. I made sure I was ready. Like, shed, his music isn't like it's difficult in its simplicity. Like, you're like, oh yeah, it's just this, but you gotta find ways to create nonstop within that for like minutes, and like, he allows so much freedom.
That's awesome.
It's like scary almost, because he just like wants you to be yourself. He's just like, he told me one day, it's like, yeah, man, he's like, I want you to be yourself and play the things you're hearing, just don't interrupt my flow. I was like, all right, gotcha.
Just don't interrupt my flow.
Yeah, man, but I understood. Like, he's like, I want you to play all this shit, but like, just don't get in the way to where I have to stop and think about what you're doing.
Yes. Wow. That's beautiful. Lessons like that from people that you admire and have admired for so many years, and then you get a chance to be right up on, and they're like, hey, that's amazing, bro. My friend was telling me in another podcast that I put on not too long ago that he was playing with Babatunde Alatunji, who's a very famous Nigerian drummer that passed away a couple of years ago, but he played with him here in New York when he lived here. and he would talk about like, you know, all the different, you know, shows and the different experiences musically he had. But he would say there was always a piece within the evening that was like so slow. And like he talked about as a drummer, he had issues with slow blues and stuff, and really just getting into that early on. You know what I'm saying? Like when he was first playing blues, like really to like get at what the old blues guys play when they play a slow blues. So this song was like incredibly slow, like so slow it was like out of time. And he never knew what to play until Babatunde turned around one time and luckily off the mic said to him, "Davo, you're not helping." It's just like, oh shit, all right, like I'm trying to figure out what to do, and like if you don't know what to do, then play the fuck out, you know? If you are not supporting and in some way doing what you're doing, but like stopping the flow, like what you're saying.
Yeah, man, contribute. Don't hinder. Always contribute.
Always contribute, bro. Yeah. So Barry, I want to thank you for being on our Talk Music, bro.
The pleasure's all mine, man.
It is such a pleasure to rap with you. I know we're both kind of on schedules and stuff. I got to get to Philadelphia, and you got to get back home to your beautiful baby and your beautiful wife. But I really appreciate it, man. You got anything coming up by the end of the year that you want to tell people about, or anything exciting and stuff?
Well, you know, like I said, just some more dates with Jameson Ross and Jasmine Horn. Got some stuff coming up this weekend with Mark Carey. Well, chair sound. With Mark Carey, this legendary pianist. Just, you know, I have, you know, everything is, you can follow me on my Instagram at Pocket B. I'm on Facebook and all that stuff, but Instagram is definitely going to be where you're the most up to date of everything that I'm on. So yeah, you know, give me some shouts.
Absolutely, bro.
Out.
I'll be sure to put those links in there, man. Barry, thank you so much for being
No
on
problem,
our music, bro.
Thank you, man.
Until the next time, bro. We'll do part 2 down the road, all right?
Yes, indeed.
Before that next album comes out.
Thank you, brother.
Thank you. That was the podcast. Thank you for listening. Now, I'm going to put some links to Barry's website as well as some links to check out this album. But for right now, I'm going to play one of the songs from that album. And it features my man, Jameson Ross. This is called Thank You.
Translucent tears of joy. A time when I realized that what you offered was the cure. If only I had known to bottle up those years into little vials of hope for generations to come, to come. Thank you for raising me. Without you, there's no me, my truth.